tight end was his position in college. He was listed as an athlete. Kind of played a little bit of everywhere at Hillsborough. But what could have been with Cole Laierla? If he had his head on straight at Oregon, could he have been a, Gronkowski or whatever type tight end?
Not Gronkowski, but Aaron Hernandez. He was the type of guy that I think, in terms of, because the thing about Hernandez is people forget a lot of stuff, especially when you murder people. But Hernandez was a guy that, I just say it, Hernandez was a guy that almost was changing the game. Where you had an offense with the Patriots where you have a traditional, seam stretcher guy and Rob Gronkowski, the full-service tight end, the classic full-service tight end that, most teams have that's also elite at what he does. And then you have the sort of H-back tight end in Aaron Hernandez, who was able to attack things more, horizontally, instead of vertically, with devastating effect. And Laierla was a little bit of that. He was kind of technique-wise wasn't much to it. Obviously, he wasn't like the most technically sound or impressive tight end, but what he was just this unbridled stallion type guy. He went to the combine. His testing was amazing. By the way, I know he hasn't really done much, because of various things, but he tested like somebody that could easily have been a special tight end. And I just think if he had actually had a chance to develop, if the character stuff hadn't happened, if the, whatever problems he has with his, family and stuff like that, which, a lot of deep-seated stuff there with him to a certain extent. But, if he was just able to keep his head on straight and really focus, he could have been, that Aaron Hernandez type guy, that type of tight end that could attack the field horizontally in a way that teams just couldn't deal with. And unfortunately, he just wasn't able to really develop into that type of guy. And, it happens, man, but it's kind of a shame just because, again, I do think that a lot of people go, well, obviously he sucked. Well, I don't really think it's that. I think it's more of a character thing because, Laierla was a guy that had so much talent, but never really got developed because of his own sort of issues. And then at the NFL level, didn't really go much from there either because of the similar sort of stuff. And there's still time. He could still pop up on another team and do something, but it's just, I think he could have been really good. It's just it didn't really happen.
Yeah, I wish things turned out different for him. He had a definitely rough upbringing. He had a lot of things happen from his freshman year of high school to his senior year, pretty much of not senior year, he didn't make it the senior year, made the junior year of Oregon, and a lot of things happened at Oregon. A lot of things happened during combine and after that, with the Packers. So he's a guy that's still trying to fight, man. He's playing in Arena League right now. This guy I actually talked to earlier this year, and a little bit towards the beginning of the summer. Actually, I had a chance to talk to him too. So he's doing good, and he's working out. He's working out heavy. He's still a pretty young guy. He's trying to make it, man. Trying to make it back to the league. He messed up when he had his chance, and hopefully he'll make it back. He's kind of the what could have been guy from this class, so I had to kind of mention him a little bit. But moving on, Christian Westerman, who is from Chandler, Arizona, went to Auburn and went back to Arizona State. They won 3 state championships at Hamilton. He is in the 27th. Aaron Lynch, who had up and down career at Notre Dame, didn't play really at Notre Dame and USF, I believe is where he played. And, he's a Florida kid that had some issues with, like, ADD and stuff like that and Adderall. But now he's doing a really good job in the NFL. So pretty happy for him because he's overcame a lot as well. Timmy Jernigan's number 29. Malcolm Mitchell, the DB/wide receiver, is number 30. Number 32 is a quarterback, finally. This is kind of the only list, I think, Jim, where we've had where I haven't named a quarterback in this top 25. This is the only quarterback class without a 5-star quarterback. There's no 5-star quarterback in this class. Jeff Driscoll was a 4-star quarterback. He was the number 1 quarterback in this class. Didn't work out at Florida, obviously. Had a weird career, like just in high school. Was more of a passer until his senior year, where he had to run the football a lot, and they had a different coach. Kind of got compared to Tebow, a guy who went to Florida as well. Didn't live up to the hype at all. But he's done a really good job at Louisiana Tech, and I think he's going to be really good at the bowl games. I think he's going to end up, in somebody's camp or getting drafted possibly or whatever the case may be, because he's really done a good job. He's a smart kid. He's overcame a lot on the field. So I think he'll do a good job. His buddy and 7-on-7 teammate, Nick O'Leary, is number 33 for a state tight end. He's in the NFL now. Braxton Miller, quarterback, athlete, number 34. Marcus Lee, number 35. Devin Blackmon is number 36. Marcus Robinson, 38. Roberson. Austin Sefrin Jenkins with 39. And Michael Bennett, Michael Bennett is number 40. Let me ask you a quick question about Braxton Miller and Jeff Driscoll. Which one would you rather have on your football team? Because, I mean, they're two different positions. They've gone through different routes now, but would you rather draft Braxton Miller at receiver, which he's playing now, or would you rather take the quarterback and Jeff Driscoll and see what he's got?
I mean, the way things have turned out, I honestly would go Driscoll. Miller, with how things are right now, of course, if I could prevent Miller getting the sort of shoulder injury he had, it'd be a different sort of question. But Driscoll, he's interesting because it's a night and day difference in terms of how he's playing at Louisiana Tech compared to what he was at Florida. It's really that big of a difference. He's actually scanning the field. He's getting the ball out. He's not panicking. His pocket presence has got a lot better. He's actually reading defenses. I mean, he's a lot more comfortable and a lot happier at Louisiana Tech, and is playing like a guy that I consider to be one of the draftable quarterbacks in this class. I think with Driscoll, I know it sounds crazy to say that, but he's going to the Senior Bowl. And I think that Senior Bowl, considering the guys that are invited there, he's probably going to be the second-best quarterback there. And it's crazy to say that, but when you look at the Senior Bowl, you start to go, Carson Wentz and Jeff Driscoll are probably going to be at the top two there. So I think that the redemption, as you say, or some people might say, is true with Driscoll. I think he's really turned himself into a quarterback that is intriguing, is a guy that is interesting to see how he could develop from there. As far as what happened in Florida, I can't even begin to tell you what happened in Florida. It was a combination of bad coaching, a combination of management sort of issues. There's so many things that went wrong there, and I could at least give an excuse that, you know what, Driscoll, I know you were terrible at times in Florida, but with the way things are going now, a new coach comes in and everything starts to actually look good or better in a way that it hasn't been in the last couple of years. You do have to question whether or not they actually were helping develop him. And I think with him at Louisiana Tech and how he's been playing at Tech, I think there's something there now. With Miller, I always had question marks in terms of, is he more athlete than quarterback, which is something that kind of carried over. Then, of course, he had the injury, and then came in this year with the shoulder sort of issue on top of the Cardell Jones, J.T. Barrett off, sort of thing as well. So he wasn't, he was just in a lose-lose situation, I guess, in terms of, coming back. Urban Meyer kept his promise, I bet, in terms of, showcasing him to get the NFL consider him as a wide receiver or something like that. But I just think in terms of quarterbacks, just based on what I've seen, Driscoll has put up better tape in his last, couple of years, or at any point in his career than Miller has in his career at Ohio State. So, it'd probably be Driscoll.
Yeah, interesting that you say that. I know we talked about Driscoll a lot when he, was at Florida, and he definitely had his struggles. Braxton, this guy was all Big Ten, guy, and one of the better quarterbacks in that conference. Now he's a receiver. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one I'd take. I think I'd take Braxton a little bit ahead of Jeff Driscoll, but we'll see. A lot of people have Braxton Miller a little too high for me. I've seen him pretty high in the mocks, man. Even as high as late second round. I don't believe he'll go that high. I think he's more of a gadget, Braxton type guy in the NFL. But as a guy, you can have him on your roster for a while, doing some kick returns and playing, the third or fourth wide receiver for a while. So we'll see what happens with that one. Number 43, guy we mentioned before, might have heard of him, especially this week, Odell Beckham Jr. I think he's one of my personal favorite players in the NFL. Him and Josh Norman, that thing, I didn't even actually see that live. I heard about it, and I rewatched it. It was pretty bad. He definitely was uncalled for. Hearing Ray Lewis and Trent Dilfer, the guys talk about it last night, kind of made me feel a little bit better, but I don't think he's a dirty player. He just got into it with Norman, man, and that team. It was a hyped-up game because they were undefeated. They played their butts off. He played good. Josh Norman's probably the best cornerback in the league, and Odell Beckham's considered, one of the best receivers, if not the best. So it was a good matchup to watch. And, Odell Beckham is just a different person from what he was. A lot of people ask, why was he number 43? Why was there so many receivers at him? This guy was 5'10" and 166 pounds when he was a senior in high school. So, Jim, what's his numbers now? I know you know all the numbers on guys' height and weight. He was 5'10" and 166 when he was a senior. What is he now?
Yeah, right now 5'11", 196, probably 200. Yeah.
Okay, so he hasn't gotten much taller, but he's gotten a lot bigger.
40, insane 3-pound total.
He's gotten bigger, stronger, and faster.
Get hops.
Great hops. Yeah, and he's still a top 50 player. I don't think people got it wrong. He just was a different guy. When you're talking about high school guys translating to college, Jarvis Landry was supposed to be that number one guy, and Beckham was always the two guy, and it kind of just switched a little bit.
Right.
Even then,
it happens. It makes sense. It happens because again, when you're talking about high school recruiting, it makes sense why certain guys, like you just mentioned, Ray Drew, a guy who was 6'5", 240 already, right? Well, now you kind of know what your floor is, I guess. He's 6'5", 240, so we can put weight on him. We can do this. We can do that. When you got a guy like, it's 5'10", 160-ish pounds, there's definitely sort of a, how much bigger is he going to get, and how much taller is he going to, there's that sort of stuff to it. But
yeah, of course.
The issue is, which makes it the hardest thing to do, really, is, you're going to get bigger. You're going to get taller. You're going to get, you're at an age where inches and weight can just come on you all of a sudden, You go from being kind of a chubby guy to being a skinny guy. You go from being an athletic guy to being a chubby guy. So, the reverse can happen. So, it's, I don't know. It's really tough to do. You can't blame, that sort of system because it's really hard to predict these things, like who's going to become bigger, who's going to become this, who's going to become that. But, yeah, that's kind of exactly what you said. I think even though he was a top 50 player in that particular class, the way the classes are made, it makes sense. And it's honestly crazy he was top 50 because based on the things you just said, I'm surprised he would have ended up being top 100.
Yeah, he just what helped him out was, Playing good. That's a U.S. Army All-American Bowl.